Hello, everyone! It is
I'm right
episode
here,
24. We are one episode away from being a quarter to 100 episodes, which is...
They say 24 hours, 24 showers.
Did they say that? Oh, okay. No, dude, what a fucking...
What do you think the world record is for the amount of showers? Like, what's quantified as a shower in a day?
I don't know, dude. My showers literally take 2 seconds. Like, I'm in, I rinse. Like, you know how people relax in the shower? That's all right. If you relax in the shower, dude, you're a fucking scrub. I don't care what it is. Like, if you relax in the shower, if you take more than 10 minutes in a shower, you're a scrub. Like, my wife's in the shower right now. You know how long she's been in there? She's been there for like 35 minutes. What you doing? What are you doing for so fucking long? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
See, I'm a shower. Well, it depends. If I've had a long day, I just let the warm water just slowly burn my back, like, and create like third-degree burns.
I get it, dude. Like, when I take a shower, sometimes I sit there and I let it like just go right on. Joanna's like, what the fuck? I let it go like right on my neck because it's like it soothes the pain, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, it soothes the pain because I have my cluster headaches. Nah, dude, I don't even fucking care, dude. I see people in the comments, they're all getting mad. If you take longer than 10 minutes to shower, what you doing? Scrub.
Wait, are you calling them a scrub, or are you telling them to scrub?
Scrub faster is what I'm trying to say.
Scrub faster. For those of you tuning in, this is going between two brothers where we talk about the past, the present, and what's happening in the future. I don't know if you already said that, but I'm jumping right in, and every single beginning of episode we say a little PSA. And I don't know if I said this PSA because all the episodes kind of mixed match together, and I feel like I've already said this, but please subscribe or we will attract the COVID and go visit your grandmothers. And we will give them to them. And I'm sorry, but Papa had to go because you did not subscribe to our channel. And you know what it is here at Torn Between Two Brothers, where we threaten to murder the elderly in trade for your subscription. So please hit that subscribe button. And without further ado, do you know what else is happening during the COVID? So social distancing.
Yeah.
And do you know who's social distancing the most today? SpaceX and Elon Musk.
Oh God, yeah, fuck yeah.
So Elon Musk, space travel company, SpaceX, was going into space at 4:33 p.m. today with the astronauts Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley.
So not real names, you know? Like,
it does not sound like. If I had to make up a fake name, I'd be like Bob Behnken.
Bob Behnken.
So they were supposed to lift off from Florida's Kennedy Space Center aboard the Crew Dragon capsule. By the way, terrible name.
True Dragon capsule? Crew Dragon? It's the fucking Crew Dragon.
So this is the first time in nearly 10 years that we're going into space. Like, we're leaving U.S. soil, which is insane to me. I didn't realize it had been that long. I thought it was longer, if anything, dude.
Yeah, like, I felt like it would have been longer. I don't remember going into space 10 years ago. I'll tell you that. But also, I was like 15 and I didn't fucking care. So I think that's one of the aspects for me is like, oh yeah, we're going into space. Like, dude, I get it. Like, space is important to be able to like go out and do things, find water on Mars, do whatever. But like, when I was 15 years old, I definitely was like, oh, when's the last time we went up to space?
I think the thing that's weird, because you think back to like the race against Russia, and it's like, it's baffling that event was like televised and like commercialized to be like, you know, like an American booster, you know what I mean? Like a booster of morale to say, hey, we're getting to the moon first. And I can only imagine what it was like watching it, like, with everyone else. Like, I don't think we've had an achievement like that wasn't like a bad achievement. You know, like obviously like when 9/11 happened, like everyone like crowded the TVs to watch it. But I don't remember an achievement that created such a oomph, like with everyone watching it at the same time to see this happen. Maybe the last League of Legends tournament. But, the only thing that was, and I was kind of tuning in, but it was at 4:30. It's like the worst time I'm on my commute home. So when am I like, am I gonna watch it like while I'm driving? So it said that the cloudy conditions forced launch operations to stop with only 20 minutes left.
Yeah.
And then, so now they're actually having it happen on Saturday at 3:22 p.m. And funnily enough, President Trump was there shortly before 3, ready to watch this take off. And the last time that someone watched, like a president watched a space shuttle take off, was Bill Clinton for the Discovery in October 1988. Fun fact. So what they're doing, these 2 astronauts are just gonna end up going outside of the atmosphere and orbiting Earth for 19 hours.
Oh, okay. They're not going further than just orbiting Earth.
No, they're just orbiting.
Oh, okay.
That's the other thing. I mean, you think about going to space, you're like, all right, you're not gonna go further?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm just like, obviously it's like a miracle that we're going into outer space and everything. We're like a monkey, like discovering the city for the first time, but like it's like. Can we go further? Like, how come we can't go further than the moon?
I don't know, man. I've always thought about that too. I get it. I'm not like a scientist, and especially not one that deals with fucking space or anything by all means. But I've always thought it. I was always curious as to see like, why can't we go further? Is it fuel related? Like what's the issue in terms?
Distance related.
Yeah. Like, does the spacecraft not have enough fuel to be able to go to like places like Mars and shit like that? Or can we, is it viable?
I think it's that, and I think it's how far it is. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's like years to get to somewhere.
Oh, is it?
I don't know.
I don't know, dude. You know what?
I'm definitely not a scientist.
You know what I was thinking of, actually? I do remember, because about 10 years ago, it was a big thing because it was like the first female going in outer space, or the first like female chief or something that had to do with that. And I remember that being a big deal. Like, maybe, I don't think it was like, maybe the first
10 years ago.
10 years ago. I remember that being an issue. Not an issue, an achievement, so to speak.
Blew up.
Yeah,
so there was no female in between then and 10 years ago, whatever. I don't know. Do you like just sidebar, do you to relate to my previous question, do you think there was an achievement that we recently, either as a nation, as a world, kind of viewed in nostalgia, like, because I feel like back in the day there was a lot of firsts in the world. So like going into outer space, there was a Felix Baumgartner who like skydived from the highest whatever the fuck, and then maybe stuff like Michael Phelps or Usain Bolt, but those are kind of like, I don't know, I don't think there was a universally like, or even like just united as a country watch, like
I don't know. I think I would have to disagree with that, but it's like 50% because, or whatever the number is. I think the last achievement for Americans are the Republicans for the Donald Trump impeachment.
Oh, with how many people
were watching? Because
but that's not an achievement.
I mean, it's
I meant something universally appreciated, like going to the moon. Everyone was stoked. No one was like, no, this is not happening in my United States of America.
There were people that had conspiracy theories saying that it was fake. I mean,
I know, but that was after it happened.
Yeah, I guess so.
They didn't watch it with the conspiracy theory in mind.
They could have.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I'm not too sure. Here's the thing: is that the media nowadays is so fucking attached to everything negative that we don't have things, and we're not pushing limits. But then again, here's the thing: is that we're in the age of prime technology, where back in the day, 55, 60 years ago, back, you go back a generation or two generations at that, they didn't have what we have today. So everything was new and innovative, and people were rushing to get to things. And now I feel like, although technology is still advancing, we're kind of at the top of like what we'll see. I don't see us by the time I die, I don't think there will be flying cars. You know what I mean? Like, when I think future, I think like 200, 300 years from now or whatever it is. So I feel like we've plateaued, just like the coronavirus, we've plateaued to a certain extent with technological advances.
I think the internet might be like achievement or personal achievement that kind of brought the whole world together. I mean, granted, it wasn't a televised event, which was more the sway of my question. It's funnily enough, to talk about the internet, which it's not the same thing, but it's around the same time, just because of how young I was. But I was talking to Kat about the Y2K bug.
Yeah.
And I forgot why it came up. I was just talking about it in passing. And it was funny talking to her because she was 6 when it happened.
Sure. Yeah, same age as myself.
And she didn't really recall how big of a deal it was. And I was curious, just kind of like now thinking out loud, like, do you remember anything about the Y2K bug and how severe it was to like the general public?
No, I don't believe so. I think my earliest memory of something like that was it was like 6/6/2006, or what was it? The Mayan calendar? I don't know. Those things.
Recently.
Those things.
Like no.
I don't know, like 10, 15 years ago, like those events where it's like, oh my God, it's 6/6/2006, and I remember going to bed being like, what if I don't wake up tomorrow? You know? But the Y2K bug, I don't really think I was.
Do you know what it is, or why there was such a hysteria behind it?
Well, I know that it was something for for 2000, when 2000 hit, that something would spread or something along the lines of that, but I don't remember too much.
Okay, well, I mean, I know it's such a stupid thing because I feel like our demographic, a lot of people watch it, but it was just interesting talking to her and realizing that it's not really something that's brought up or just talked about, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if you were in it, you know why it happened, but everyone that was kind of after the fact doesn't even really realize that the Y2K bug was a thing or what it was affecting.
Yeah.
And this is just a complete sidebar. I didn't write this down. The Y2K bug was a widespread phenomenon that people thought that their computers were going to crash and all technology was going to crash because computers were programmed to go to 999 or 1999.
Yeah.
So when it would turn to 2000s, which would be essentially zero at that point, people were thinking that once it hit 2000 or once it hit that next year, it wouldn't know what to do. Updates wouldn't work. Certain things would crash because things were typically programmed only to that point.
That's so funny.
So it was like the turn of the millennia was going to really test technologies. And there's actually a lot of companies that had to go back and fix some of the programming issues that would cause their programs to crash because the year 2000 would give them issues with all their technology. So it was
That's so fucking weird.
People were thinking we're gonna have a shutout, like a power outage and everything as soon as the clock struck midnight because everything was programmed a certain way and it wasn't prepared for the turn of a millennia, which is baffling to think of now because if something turned the year 3000 or 2100 we wouldn't think twice about it, but 20 years ago, like, technology was so kind of fresh with its computing powers that they were nervous about something like that. You
had fucking Windows XP and it was going to crash. Dude, that's so fucking weird to think about. That people, literally a group of people, were hysterical about technology. No, it was
everyone. It was
everyone. Well, I guess...
I think even... I mean, Mom could correct me, but I feel like... I mean, there were like, what the fuck is it called when you... they weren't like hysterical, but I think they were like a little bit. It was big back then, but I think they were a little apprehensive about it. You know what I mean? Like they're like, oh, it could happen, but I can't really judge right now. But it was just interesting phenomenon.
I wonder in retrospect to see the numbers of people that were worried about that as to the Mayan calendar and certain dates. Maybe not certain dates. I forget what the fucking Mayan calendar was. It was like 2012 or something like that, and the Mayan calendar stopped. But I remember talking to Mom and Dad.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing because for one, it was computer and technology ending at 2000, and then for the Mayan calendar, it was ending at 2012 until they redid the math and saw it was 2016 and 2024 and
exactly.
that.
Yeah, seriously. But no, I remember talking to mom and dad, and it was like, I think it was the 6606 or whatever it was, and they were like, "Oh, Brandon, this has happened, in 96 and 84 and whatever the fuck it was, like certain numbers that people were freaking out about." So I think I was less worried about that. The Mayan calendar, though, it's weird to think about, dude. It feels like fucking forever ago.
I know, dude.
Yeah.
8 years ago.
Yeah, literally. Dude, so I wanted to bring something up real quick. Oh, actually, I got to backtrack, and then I'm going to go into my shit, because the first thing I thought of when they were like, "Oh, it's too cloudy to fucking fly today," I was like, where are the fucking clouds, dude? It's 90 degrees and sunny. I've been sweating for the past fucking 12 hours.
I know.
And then literally, dude, before the podcast, I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to go out for a cigarette real quick. Halfway done, B comes next to me. I'm out. I dropped my cigarette, I stubbed it out, and I fucking ran upstairs. I'm fucking sick of summer already. Sick of it.
I took a shower, changed. I have an undershirt. I had to put this. Granted, I wear a sweater every single week, but I had to put a sweater because I already have stains underneath my armpits from how hot it is, just like from thinking about it.
Dude, speaking of, I don't know why this just jolted a memory, but you remember back in the day, dude, when you were in middle school and your body was changing and you finally started sweating through your armpits, dude? I remember through middle school and high school being terrified to remember if I put on deodorant or not, because I would smell all day. And I remember specifically one day that I went to school and I had my winter coat because it was supposed to be like 30, 40 degrees out or whatever.
Yeah.
The weather was totally wrong. It ended up being like 60 degrees, and I had my winter coat. But since I was wearing it, I'm like, oh, the temperature is going to go down. I'll be fine. And I walked around high school campus, and everyone's like, dude, what are you doing with your winter coat? It's so fucking hot. And I was like, well, you know what they say. The weather said it was supposed to be 30, 40 degrees, so you have to prepare. And by that time, it was too late because I did not put deodorant on. I smelled so fucking bad, dude. And I remember, there's so many times I remember being like, did I put on deodorant? I just came from gym class, and I'm reeking right now, dude. Every morning, I guarantee since that day that I wore that fucking snowboarding jacket to school when it was like 60, 70 degrees out or whatever it was.
You put deodorant on.
Ever since that day. Yeah. Right in the morning. First thing I fucking do.
You want to know something that just jolted my memory that Kat was talking to me about?
What?
So I died. Okay, remember, you know how like sometimes you have memories and like you completely forget about it and then all of a sudden one day it comes so vividly to mind?
Oh, yeah.
So we're buying the fridge and the TVs for the house and everything. And, I went to go where the fridge would be, and I was like, oh, do you want like a French door or like a one door? And then she's like, oh, I want a French door. And she's pulling my arm to do like, pretending to open, the two doors.
Yeah. Okay.
And then she goes, you know what? Do you remember playing television as a kid? And I was like, what is television?
Yeah.
And then she explains to me, and I feel like it jolted a memory, and I don't know if it's a false memory or a real memory. But it's like getting a cardboard box, okay?
Yeah.
And one person stands like behind it, and the other person pretends like they're on the couch, and then you pretend and act the scene like as like a news reporter or like like a soap opera, and then the person on the couch can like take their fake controller and change the channel, and then you got to change what you're doing because it's almost like you're like acting and doing different scenes per like when the remote changes. And I'm pretty sure I did that as a kid, but it just like was like
dude, no, I definitely don't remember that game. I don't know why, but maybe I was like, well, Kat knows it, and Kat's the same age as me.
Yeah,
I have no idea. But dude, fucking perfect into my topic is the Mandela Effect. So I'm sure you know what the Mandela Effect is. Yeah. For those of you that don't know, so it's something that you thought of from your past to be true, but it's slightly altered in a way that you don't remember it. So I know like one of the practice examples for the Mandela Effect was the Target logo, and they'll show you a picture of it, and it's like, oh, is it 2 or 3 lines or whatever, and then you either get it wrong or right, whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, it's also the Barnstein Bears and everything. Well,
yes.
Do you know why it's called the Nelson Mandela Effect or the Mandela Effect?
No. Well, I'm assuming it's Nelson Mandela, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
He died like 12 years ago or whatever.
Yeah.
So they remember hearing him that he had passed away, and they had already mourned his death.
Yeah.
And then when he actually died, when he died in prison or died out of prison or whatever, people were like, he already died. Like, I already mourned his death 4 years ago. Like, we already talked about this. But then people are like, no, when that happened, it's because he was let out of jail and then he died. So, like, people are like, that's the reason that stuck with it, because it was one of the first times.
Yeah.
And a lot of, and I don't want to steal your topic.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
But if people recently have been saying that it's very possible that those things happen because we're, like, either in a simulation or
of course, simulation,
or a parallel universe. So, like, I've been reading up recently that they were saying that, like, it's so funny. So there's a simulation theory, which we've talked about before, where it's more likely that you're in a simulation than not.
Yeah.
And people have been kind of pulling recent events, like, for instance, Donald Trump being president, as, like, reasons where, like, slight things are getting screwed around with, that it makes it more likely that it's a simulation and someone's playing around and playing jokes on us.
Yeah.
And it was just funny to see, like, what people were picking and choosing as, like, what would be the flaws of this simulation of a simulation. What were we going to say about the Mandela Effect?
Yeah, I just got a note slid through the door and it says, there's a big bee in the basement. I don't know what to do. So I'm texting Joanna back, can you kill it? So hopefully it doesn't come upstairs, because, you know, your boy's going to fucking freak out and the be right back screen's going to come up sooner rather than later.
Real quick.
But no, so the fucking Mandela Effect started trending again out of nowhere just because of Spy Kids. Do you remember?
Oh.
You remember Spy Kids? Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna blow my mind, aren't you?
No, it's not. It's nothing like too. It's nothing too important, but it's funny enough. It's huge and it's flying around. I just got a text. Wonderful. Doesn't ease my anxiety anymore. Already turning red. Thank you. Appreciate it. Spy Kids got added to Netflix, and TikTok users pointed out that Netflix almost like voiced over a different scene. So it's they get dropped in the water, the Spy Kids, and they put on their masks or whatever, and so they put on the already anxious. I don't know why. Yeah. Fucking hate my life. But yeah, so so the user had played the scene on Netflix, and they were like, "Oh, I don't remember this right now. I remember them making a joke about how the kid said, 'Oh, it's warm over here,' and then the little brother says, 'Oh, I just peed.' But on the Netflix, it's a totally different scene. They're talking about the plan or something like that. So the same TikTok user bought it on Apple TV, and it was Netflix had changed it for some reason.
Really?
I don't know what the reason is, because it's not like something that's not politically correct. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like something that's bad. It's just like, oh, I peed. Maybe they wanted to clean it up. Maybe there was a deluxe version that they decided to change it, but it's different on two different platforms.
Or maybe they had to keep a certain rating or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And funny enough, I saw today, which is just coming to mind. I didn't have it written down, but I'm thinking about it right now, is The Breakfast Club. There's a scene where one of the guys is smoking weed, and Netflix edited the joint out to be a pencil. So he's like putting it in his mouth and playing with it, and like they edited out all the smoke and everything, so you're not being shown the joint, you're just being shown the pencil.
So weird.
Yeah.
Like, because there's so much stuff on Netflix that's like, that's the least of their worries.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. You have sex scenes and shit like that, but you're worried about a joint, which is pretty much legalized throughout the entire country?
Yeah. That's so weird. It's funny because something was trending on Twitter recently regarding Disney Plus. And people getting mad at Disney Plus because they were watching Wizards of Waverly Place, and they blurred out the mom's cleavage. And
really?
People were like, Disney Plus, why would you do that? Why would you do that? And then they went back and they would see that it's been done since 2009, because they were like, this is like the Disney logo from that time. So they have been like kind of censoring minor cleavage from the mom, like from like, I don't know, all the episodes. It's very interesting to see, like, I don't know. It's like people are like freaking out about stuff that doesn't, you know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, I feel we remember what we want to remember, and then things turn into pop culture, and then things turn into pop culture references. Yeah. So it's like the Luke, I'm your father was never, like, that was never the phrase.
Yes.
And it's because everyone kind of, like, I think he doesn't say Luke, I believe. but it's like maybe people repeated it so many times, you know, like, oh, remember when Darth Vader said to Luke, I am your father, and then it just turned into that, and people stuck with it because it's more catchy. And like
possibly, yeah.
And it's almost like the word Luke is just to tie in that it's I'm doing a Star Wars reference instead of a Maury reference, you know?
Yeah, yeah. But I'm curious. You brought up the fact like the Wizards of Waverly Place, and it reminded me of something because Jimmy Fallon, I think this week just got hit because
he got hit with blackface.
Yeah, he got hit with blackface because he was pretending to be Chris Rock in a scene that happened in the early 2000s, and I think people are so worried about cancel culture and what it holds and represents that they have to almost find things before society stumbles upon it and go ahead and say, oh, I'm sorry that I did blackface, you know, my actions were, which, I mean, obviously, if the action is wrong, but like people are so quick to dismiss everything and just can't, like I said, it's cancel culture. But yeah, going back to the Mandela Effect, I was curious because I know that I've done a million Mandela effects in my life in terms of instances where I thought that happened and it was either a dream, a nightmare, a TV show. So I was curious to what, is there any like instances where you're like, oh my God, I remember that to be so vivid, and then it never actually happened?
Really? I mean, I think one of the things I kind of got into, because I usually, whenever it's like 20 Mandela effects that you never realized, and you look at it, I've kind of scrolled through those, and a lot of them honestly just more make sense than anything. Yeah. So like, you know, like there's Febreze. Febreze is spelt with one E, not two E's. So it's like, gross. But it's just because people say Febreze, they don't say Febreze. You know, if you
dude, if people said Febreze, sorry, people say Febreze, they don't say Febreze.
But like, it's like all those type of things. It's just because people just said what was phonetically more appealing. You know, is that how you would say it?
Yeah, sure.
But like, it would be more appealing to say it aesthetically pleasing to the ear. So people would say Febreze, and it was pronounced Febreze, and they marketed it as Febreze, but that ignores the fact of typical, like, you know, grammar. Yeah. Or what would it be? Would it be considered? It's not grammar. It's
not grammar, but it's just mispronunciation.
Yeah, pronunciation. So like, I think every time I'm just such a logic guy that I just, instead of thinking about how was I wrong all these years, I think, well, maybe it's because people have been saying it like a weird way this whole time. Or like the Barnstein Bears, it's very easy because they're like, oh, it's Barnstein. And it's like, all right, well, maybe it's because you've been saying it wrong. Or maybe because like Jewish people like the Barnstein Bears the most, and that's who talked about it the loudest. I don't know. I don't believe in like slight glitches. And I think that's what people accounted to, is just like, I think it's shift in the matrix.
I think it's also like an Americanized, like some things are so fucking Americanized. I was just thinking while you're saying that in terms of Febreze, like I think on episode like 2 or 3 we talked about the missile strike in Iran, and I've been trying to say Iran for the longest times, but sometimes I slip out and say Iran, which is like an Americanized version, because I think it's Iran if I'm not mistaken. Iran, so it's like we Americanize so many things that it just like we don't think twice about it. But did we talk about the boxing gloves on the podcast yet?
Yes, yeah, we have.
We did, okay. Yeah. I was thinking about another one that I thought was true, because there's like, again, so many things. My memory is so shoddy. I never can fucking remember anything, and if I do, it's probably false. And I remember you had a dream or a nightmare, and I thought it happened to me at a young age, but it was actually you. And I thought, oh, well, if it was Justin, it happened in real life. And it didn't happen in real life. And maybe you remember this. It was, maybe it was. Too. Are you sure?
I feel like I've heard that. I feel like I'm having a Mandela effect right now.
Maybe, but you know what? Fuck it. It's our podcast. I'm gonna say it anyway. So it was. I think it was your dream or something like that, but all the chairs were flipped over and there was like a birthday cake. Maybe I added that in there, and it was like in your old classroom. Oh no! And everything was flipped. What you're talking about. You know what I'm talking about, right? We haven't talked about this, yeah. So I don't. Can you remember more than I can? Because I don't remember if it was my dream, your dream.
To me.
Is that it?
Yeah, it actually happened to me.
Here's the thing. I don't believe it happened to you. I feel like it was a dream that you probably repurposed into your regular life.
No, I think so. It's funny because I know we keep saying we said this in a previous episode, but like one of the early episodes we talked about superstitions and ghost stories, and if we ever had any something like that, especially with aliens. And one thing that happened to me when I was in elementary school, I couldn't even tell you what, I think it was second, third grade or whatever. And I remember we were outside of the window because a lot of the classrooms were on the first floor, and then like where the basketball or the pavement for basketball was, and like where people would play hopscotch and whatever other games, you would go there and you could poke into the windows. And I remember like all the chairs being stacked, and then like I almost feel like there was a rocking chair, but it wasn't a rocking chair, it was just a chair that rocked. Was rocking by itself, and then a candle, and everyone's like, there's things that are moving in this classroom, and people are kind of freaking out, and like like there's people that are like, oh, it's just the wind, it's just like it's what do you gotta think, it's all the atmospheric pressure or whatever when you pull open like the exterior door, and then it goes in, and then people are like, no, it's nothing, you're just being superstitious. And then I remember when someone was saying like, no, like the door slammed, and like I don't know if I'm repurposing the memory, but it feels like a candle blew out at the same time. And then we were like, oh, what the hell just happened? But this is like elementary school, and like it goes back to that thing. It's like, when you tell a story, you try to remember a story from like 25 years ago. Yeah. It's like, did that story actually happen, or is it like a spook, or is it something you've watched so many shows that have the exact same scenario that you're like, oh, I had like, you almost like, you only have like, a partial puzzle piece of the memory, and then you're kind of like gathering puzzle pieces as you go through, and then you kind of realize that nothing in your life is real.
See, this is how I remember the story, which is why I know it's fucked up, is that I thought and I might have had a nightmare that was a version of your story, but it was like the table was flipped over, the chair was flipped over on the table, so everything in the room was upside down, and there was a birthday cake that was like hanging from the ceiling, and the candles blew out when a door was shut, and I don't know, dude, and it's like a bad game of telephone, I swear. But there's so many things that I thought happened to me.
It sounds like I told you a story and you told it 10 years later.
Exactly.
That's literally what it sounds like.
And I always thought, it happened to me, and whatever. But
what's funny? It's funny that you had me fact check you, because someone else this week was fact checked, and that was none other than Donald Trump himself. So Donald Trump is threatening to regulate and shut down social media platforms after Twitter applied fact checks to 2 of his tweets.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah, I think I heard about this.
So he tweeted, and I'm just some of his quotes, some of it is kind of like just shortened because I don't want to say a 10-minute quote.
Yeah, sure.
But he goes, "There's no way that mail-in ballots will be anything less than substantially fraudulent. With the governor of California sending mail-in ballots to millions of people, regardless of who they are or what they did or where they come from, there is a guarantee there will be a rigged election." Mm-hmm. And Twitter decided because you know how on Twitter, like, you have a max character, so it lasted a couple tweets. Yeah. So what they did, it was they slapped "click here to learn more about mail-in ballots," because it was claimed as falsified, because it's like, well, mail-in ballots aren't going to create a rigged election. Yeah. So like they had to, like, because that's what Twitter and Facebook has been doing recently is, and I don't know if you've seen it on Facebook scrolling through, but they'll blur out certain stories that people are posting and say false information, and then write the validity of the statement. So it's interesting because it's a little bit of censorship, and it's the places, I don't know how they can kind of tell the two apart, but it's the places that are like intentionally falsified but aren't satirical. So satirical articles,
like the Onion and things like that. Yeah.
So, and it's sometimes tough to tell the difference between the two, especially when the Onion first started. I remember that being like a regular occurrence where people would share Onion articles, and then people would have genuine meltdowns because they didn't know what. I mean, I think the Onion is the first time I really even heard about satirical
journal articles,
or not newspaper, but website with satirical news articles.
Yeah.
So like, and it's funny because it goes back to even when we celebrated your 21st, and this is how long I know that the Onion's been around. It's been like 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, not 10 years. You're 26, 5 years.
We were the CEOs of fake news. I'll tell you that. We'll just put it that way.
We literally would like say something, and then if it was because we would talk like we do now on the podcast, and kind of like have like some of it embellished, some of it false, some of it true, and then we would literally call each other out by saying Onion. To say like literally like
you would give it like a statistic. It'd be like, oh well, 95% of the and like it's stuff that couldn't possibly be true, but we thought we were so fucking right. And then you'd look over and be like Onion, and then you would have to fact check them. That's what we did. We literally pulled out our phones and fact checked each other and saying no, like there's no way, But yeah.
But it's funny. It's funny that fact checking is being like pushed upon like social medias to say like, and like he was
it should, because there's a lot. I don't mean to fucking, I'm just gonna
say fake news.
All right. I don't like using the term fake news because I know there's a better term for it, but I can't think about it right now. But there's a lot of fake news that's out there, and you should be weary. Like we talked about for I think the past couple episodes, there's so much information out there that we don't know. So there should be people that are fact checking the internet. And especially, there's a lot of people, to bring it back, there's a lot of people that think that mail-in ballots is going to be fraudulent. And in terms of the past couple of elections, I don't know what's real or not. I don't know if fucking Donald Trump paid fucking, foreign countries to rig the election. There's no proof, but it doesn't mean it's not real. There's, it's the same for fucking people like not saying Hillary Clinton because that's a bad example because I'm pretty sure she's a fucked up, Democrat.
Yeah.
But there's so much information. Like, how do we know what to take in and to regurgitate to other people? And how do we know? And you have to be the decider of it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But if there would be like an algorithm to detect fake news, that would be fucking wonderful. I was thinking about that today. Funny enough, I was like, man, I wish there was a way that I could get real articles, because I see people fucking post Facebook posts all the time. Specifically, I was looking at one last night, and it was on Bringing Dairy Together, which is the dairy site or whatever, for communities to post stuff. And someone was like, oh, COVID-19's not even as bad as the flu or something like that. And they posted statistics for each state, and it was from like 4 months ago.
Yeah.
So the death toll in New Hampshire was like, I think it was like 15, and now our total, we just today figured out that we have over 100,000 COVID deaths in the country.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely crazy to me. I wish there was a system to be able to put in place.
There's a expiration date on a lot of these news too. Mm-hmm. So something that happens to I think one of the best examples to kind of describe the COVID is at my company. They were discussing on a Wednesday or whatever what their plan of action was. And then the governor of Massachusetts literally said, made an announcement and changed everything they planned. So and that you can apply that to every news that we're going through right now. Yeah. It's like, even if someone was telling you the truth, you don't know if it was a truth that existed 2 months ago, a week ago, currently, false altogether. And it's like, for instance, someone posted recently an article about King Tut. And how it's the first time it's been brought out to life in 4,000 years or whatever. And then I'm like looking at it, and then the article, I was like, oh, I'm gonna bring that up, and then I'm like, oh, this article's like over a year old. Like this is like and then I got excited for it, like it happened today. Yeah. And it's like, and then you apply that to, and what happens too is it's not only word of mouth, but it's internet as well. But it's like you also got to acknowledge that some people are excited, like to hear about something, so they share an article because they just heard about it, but it can be old. You can't fault them for it being old either, unless things change.
Well, you can fault them, but then you're just like blaming that they don't know as internet as well as they can, and that I remember there was a Tom Brady post that came out obviously before he went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and it was stating that, oh, you know, he's going to be retiring. And it was his plan from 2018 or 2019, and it was being shared left and right on Facebook, and I kept seeing it, and I wanted to just post on there and be like, you got to look at the dates when you post articles. It's 2018, but some people just aren't internet literate, so they're not able to provide these functions.
We're doing this podcast. I feel like I'm a little bit more conscious with it.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. Is that we're constantly looking at information and trying to, you know, pull in. I don't even know the fucking word, influx. I'm gonna throw that word out there. Bam! There's your English teacher word of the day. Fucking influx of information, and we're not able to handle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least we are to a certain extent, but a lot of people aren't.
No.
Yeah. That's why we're gonna kill your grandparents with COVID. I think that's.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going a different direction, dude. And this is something that I think you have probably, and we haven't talked about it on the podcast, but it's another Dead by Daylight update.
Oh yeah, dude.
For those of you that don't know,
hell, baby.
Yes. So for those of you that don't know, Dead by Daylight is a video game in which you have one monster, which they've done a million collaborations, not a million, but they've done quite a few collaborations with different. Yeah, with different like movie companies or video game companies to be able to have their monsters, for example, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, people like that, and they've integrated those people in a game, so it's a 4 versus 1 person where you try to get generators running that powers a door, and then you get out and you escape the monster, and they can kill you. They put you on sacrificial hooks.
Asymmetrical horror, like thriller game or whatever, or horror versus game or whatever.
Exactly. So it was just released, and I watched gameplay of it today because I was super curious. I did.
He looks pretty dope, huh?
He looks fucking dope. So for those of you that don't know, it's Pyramid Head from Silent Hill, which is one of the scariest in my experience. I think he's scarier than like Freddy Krueger. Freddy Krueger doesn't scare me.
Silent Hill was
I believe
is it a video game?
It's a video game that got turned into a movie, I believe.
Okay. I see. I kind of had it reversed because it's one of the most renowned video game like horror genre series.
Because I think
like people.
Oh, sorry. I think Silent Hill was released before because it was on the original Xbox, if I'm not mistaken. The movie was made in 2006.
Okay. Yeah, because people were. I don't know if you have this written down, but people were genuinely upset because they're like, all right, you're gonna put Silent, like, this is not like. You're not doing any fan service putting these characters in Dead by Daylight.
Yeah.
We've been begging for another Silent Hill game forever, another horror genre game that isn't kind of watered down with what everyone else is doing. Silent Hill was a staple in the horror genre.
Yeah.
Bring another one out, and Konami said, "Oh, we heard you."
Right away.
Dead by Daylight character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right away. So they're going to be adding I believe for us it's going to be June 16th, and I mean us, I believe all like platforms, Xbox, PlayStation, what have you.
Yeah, because they put it in like the beta version or whatever.
Correct. Yeah, so that's how I was able to see gameplay. So for the monster, it's going to be Pyramid Head. For those of you that don't know, it's literally a dude that's like gigantic, a triangle pyramid for a head, and this long blade that he just drags on the ground and walks through places. Cheryl Mason is going to be added as the player. For those of you that know, she's one of the main characters that tries to get away from Pyramid Head. And the Midwich Elementary School, which is going to be the map added, which is fucking nasty. Cool. So the official game website, they stated that Midwich Elementary School is the scene of unspeakable horrors. Any sense of innocence has been stripped. It's a place with rusted chains, hanging cadavers throughout the whole place, and a sense that things have just gone terribly wrong within there. But the reason I say Pyramid Head scares me is not because of the games. I never played any of the Silent Hill games, but I did watch the movie back in the day. And Pyramid Head fucking, if any of you out there know which scene I'm talking about, so he's chasing, I believe it's Cheryl Mason and 2 other of the main characters, and they're running to like the sanctuary place that they have, and they're going past the gate. 2 of the females end up running in, but he ends up grabbing one, and he's like a big fucking dude, you know? And he strips her clothes off, so she's just wiggling there naked. And then he rips like the whole epidermis, like her outer.
Seen this movie.
Oh, he rips her outer skin off, Like, so he's just holding her, rips her epidermis off, throws it at the door. By the time Cheryl Mason and the other girl end up going into the sanctuary and the doors are closing, the skin just hits the door and blood just goes everywhere. And it was like one of the scenes from a horror movie, because if you know me, I don't like anything scary. I can do gross things like Saw. I don't mind.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
But I fucking hate like pop-up scares and shit like that. So Silent Hill was...
pop-up scares I think is just such a like cheap move.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely.
Like, I think it's a cheap trick in like the horror genre, because like there's something to create an environment that's just eerie and creepy. I feel just so much more rewarding and enticing.
Oh, absolutely.
Than to just have like instead of the car commercial where the car's driving in the distance and the zombie girl's face pops up. Like it's just, I don't know.
And funny enough, so I know a little bit of a backstory into there. I had this friend when I was attending UNH last year or a year and a half ago. His name was Nick. And he was like a huge movie buff, and he told me all about it. Apparently, pop-up scenes were made in the 1960s.
Okay.
So it was forever ago, and then they caught wind, and basically it got to the point where every movie or every horror movie or scary movie is known to have a pop-up scare, because they can't recreate that feeling, the eeriness and the scariness and the build-up and stuff. But
yeah, and that's what I feel. I feel like it's like an easy way out to not have to build that build up.
Exactly.
There's something. I mean, like it just. I feel like that's what made some of these movies and horror movie genres and moments monumental.
Exactly.
Because it created this, and I think that's why the horror genre has kind of like a little bit been on a decline, because it's like gore has already been done and different. I feel like what's the movie with Jordan Peele that not Us, but the one before that, Get Out.
Yeah, Get Out.
I think that was such a brilliant movie to reinvent the horror genre.
Yeah. While
still creating like black and white stereotypes, and then it also created this eeriness, and you didn't know why. You didn't know why everything seemed creepy.
It was like an overwhelming arch of just like racism and creepiness, and just like made you feel uncomfortable to a certain extent.
But on the same note, it still made you familiar.
Yeah.
And I think that's when that beautiful line of horror comes out, is when something is familiar and you can't put your finger on it, but still odd and eerie.
Yes.
And that's what frightens you the most. Is it's such a
it's almost like a real experience, because The Exorcist, although people believe in exorcisms, The Exorcist isn't coming to get you. You know what I mean? Like robbers, people that break into houses, that's scary because it's reality. Yeah. So once you kind of find a middle ground, which Us is like a perfect example.
Well, the reason The Exorcist was so scary back in the day, because of how prominent religion and devil worshiping and everything was prominent back then. So that's where that increase came out.
Well, I'm sure for that time it was a reality, and I'm not saying that I'm not scared of Exorcist, because I've had millions and millions of nightmares about fucking the green bitch. But no, I don't know. But to get back to the Dead by Daylight, I was curious to ask, because you're always like into what am I trying to say? Into guessing like the next Super Smash Brothers character and stuff like that. Do you have any guesses as to what's going to be coming? Because this is June 16th, so we have like 3 weeks away. But so the next update might not be for X amount of
the way time. They do it is every year. So I'm a big follower, and I enjoy the Dead by Daylight series, even though it's kind of a dead game on Xbox Live, as we've very, very recently and over and over have experienced. Is the what they do is every year they whether it's their 4th year anniversary, 5th year anniversary, they make a giant episode where they talk for 2 hours, and they talk about year 4, what's happening this year moving forward in year 5. And usually what they do is they kind of go, well, at this month we're gonna go into mobile gaming, this month we're gonna do optimization, this month I think you were there when they kind of introduced the whole friends list that's native to the Dead by Daylight game.
Yeah.
So they have 4 4 chapters,
Mm-hmm.
one for every 3 months. Most of them are done by like generic characters that they personally create, and then I think it's like 2 where they pull in like other movies and other franchises, and then 2 where they make it themselves.
Yeah.
And Pyramid Head has been one that's been in the talks forever that everyone's been asking for, but they thought it was a dead dream just because
Konami.
Just because it was Silent Hill, and
Yeah.
there hasn't really been a development in the series in a while.
Yeah.
One I would love to see, and I think just because it would add, I don't know, I think it would just be so funny, is Chucky. I think
Chucky would be fucking hilarious.
It's so
I didn't
scary,
even think about that.
but it would be so funny to see like a toddler or doll chasing you with a knife, and then almost like see it like jump up and stab you, or like see like the harakiri or the mori, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Where like it like insta kills someone. I would love.
I
to
wonder
see
how he would get you on the hook. Like, he would have to jump pretty fucking high. The hooks would almost have to be on the ground, and it was like, it might be like something that's pulling you apart rather than hanging from.
Oh, that would be sick.
Yeah, I feel like almost like a trap, like you're stuck in.
Or just a bunch of fireplaces.
When you said Chucky, the first thing that came to mind was the dummy from Goosebumps. I don't know why.
Dude.
Yeah.
Okay, so all right, so our good friends at the Keep Up, so I regularly listen to their podcast.
Yeah.
And they were talking about Goosebumps recently because they revisited it and Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
And the thing that they brought up, and I just thought it was so funny because it was something I would have never realized, and I still feel we never put 2 and 2 together. So Goosebumps, first off, they found a young Ryan Gosling in a few of the episodes, and then like a couple other famous actors. But do you know, so Goosebumps and Are You Afraid of the Dark was produced and made in Canada.
Yes. Yep, I knew it was native to Canada.
So the thing that you probably don't know is everyone on that show has a Canadian accent.
No, I didn't know that.
Dude, it's so
That's
weird. They
weird.
were talking about it, and they were like even saying a young Ryan Gosling like has that Canadian accent.
Yeah.
So they rewatched it, and they never kind of made a mental note about it. But listening to it as an adult or watching it as an adult, they're like, "Oh, everyone here has a Canadian accent."
Well, did they redo it when it came to the States, and did they do voiceovers?
No,
not even. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just so used to it's Mom. That's what makes me so used to.
No, we lived in Canada.
Well, I know we lived in Canada, but Mom still has the Canadian accent, so even now I'm like, she talks and I don't even notice it.
No, do you remember even watching Goosebumps in the States? Like, do you have any memories of watching Are You Afraid of the Dark? I don't think so.
No, I only remember we had the books when we went to the States.
Yes.
That might be.
If we watched Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yeah.
After we moved to the States, we would have watched it as reruns visiting our grandparents. Because YTV was still showing it for years and years after we moved.
Dude, fucking YTV. All of you Americans, I'm going to say this. All of you Americans missed
I think
out.
I just had an epiphany. I need to look this up. I'm sorry, Brendan.
That's fine. I'll talk while you're doing so. All you Americans missed out on the greatest thing, which was YTV, because when you guys were watching, like, I don't even know, what were you guys watching when you were younger?
Never mind.
What?
I thought Y stood for Yahoo, but it doesn't.
Oh, that would be fucking nasty.
And then I had an epiphany. I was like, what did Yahoo do YTV?
But no, I think it's youth, right? Is it like youth television?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. But
it
no,
would be youth. Of course, it wouldn't be like children's TV. It would be youth because
because Canadian.
Want to use the Y.
But dude, in terms of like a comparison between the shows in America and the shows in Canada, I feel like Canada had America beat in terms of like when we were younger, like 90% of the time.
Oh yeah.
The catalog was so diverse, and there were so many like interesting things. We've probably talked about Reboot on the podcast, but Reboot is like one of the most like probably like the smartest fucking kids show ever.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe Adventure Time would be like the side by side comparison in terms of in terms of its concepts, because what did I say? Oh, Adventure Time, like the concept behind Adventure Time is so brilliant, and a lot of people don't know it, and that's the reason I appreciate it, is because it's a post World War III where fucking radiation has taken over everyone, and that's why everyone's a monster.
Yeah.
But there was a life
post the Mushroom War.
Post the Mushroom War. And then Reboot has like you're living in a computer and there's mini games and things like that. Like, man, I don't know, dude. I feel like
glitches, and that's the thing that's funny is computers are just coming out.
Yeah.
So like computers were just starting to become prominent day to day, and it was completely computer generated, which is another layer on top of it.
Exactly. It's
almost like they had like sticking around. It's almost like, to put an example of two American channels.
Yeah.
So let's say there's like Disney Channel or ABC Family or Nickelodeon, and then Cartoon Network. If I were to say this accurately, America to Canada television or to children's television is like America would be like the Nickelodeon Disney, while Canada would be like a Cartoon Network. Like,
I guess so.
Simile for it, because like it felt like all these really good Toonami shows and it's so weird because it was almost like a mix of Cartoon Network and then like if you watch it at like teen times like 7, 8, 9 o'clock or some random times in the early, like 11 o'clock or whatever, they would show music videos like almost like a TRL type of thing, like in the same channel. It was very interesting to see the blend of two of them together, because if you were a teenager or you were younger, like a child, you would YTV was a staple in your life. And I don't know how prominent it is today, but it was for 20 years of our lives.
Dude, this whole time while you're talking, you know what I just thought about, which I probably locked in the back of my head for many, many years? Do you remember, was it Bonzai or Bonanza? There was an old show. Tell me if I'm right, because I think you were there with me. If not, I was alone and this happened. But I ended up on this random channel in Canada at my grandparents' house. Yeah, at our grandparents' house when they lived across the street from us. And Bonzai! I remember, I think it was Bonzai, right? Yeah. And there was a segment when they were like, who has the longest dick out of the races? And people were like, had socks on their dicks, but like it wasn't censored, I don't think. I don't remember it being censored. If it was, probably, but I don't remember, because I was like, this is the first time I saw a dick on television. No joke, dude. So and it was like the races just lined up and they were like, oh, you got a sock on your cock, take it off. And it was just a pelvis shot of like 4 different races, like a black dude, an Asian dude, a white guy, and say like a Spanish dude. And they all had socks on their dicks and they took them off. Dude, I was like 7, bro. I was like 7 looking at fucking dicks on the TV. Like, how I didn't come out gay.
Isn't really a censored thing in Canada television.
How I didn't come out, dude, how I didn't come out gay, no idea. Because I just saw like a million dicks in front of me and I was like, gotta shut the TV off. Like, heterosexual, you know?
Like,
where's the button? Where's the button?
You're trying to find the fucking dial if you're at your grandparents' house.
Yeah. Do you want to send it to break and we'll come back in a little bit?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, perfect. Those of you that tuning in, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. We don't have a conversation going on, but I know there's like 6, 7 people chilling, so just enjoy yourself. Make yourself at home. And we'll be right back in 3 minutes. All right, guys, we are back. Thank you for sticking in, those that are still watching. I love that sound.
It's funny because I tell you, bring the energy, and you're like, all right, guys, we are back.
We are back.
You know what's funny?
You know what's...
Your boy, I keep looking at the camera because it looks like... I know I'm wearing a wood brown shirt.
It looks black.
And it looks like I'm wearing a wet t-shirt. Like I look like I just jumped in the pool with a black sleeve.
Well, you know why? Because it's fucking 80 degrees out and I'm sweating, dude. I'm sweating. All right, here's a promise, and it has nothing to do with you guys and it has everything to do to us. Like, I'm bringing a portable AC when we get back to the fucking face-to-face podcast. I don't care, because I am not going to sweat all goddamn night.
Face-to-face, my basement's cold.
Oh, well, dude, if I lift it, you could, dude, I got the pit stains, bro. Do you know why?
Okay.
I got the pit stains, man.
There's a small scientific thing that happens. Heat rises.
I know, and I'm on the top floor.
I know. On the second, third floor of your house, like, is obviously why it's super hot in your room while me in the basement. I'm chilling, dude. I could be wearing a winter coat. I've been looking fresh.
So I wanted to get into something that hurt me a little bit hearing. Well, no, you know what? It didn't even fucking surprise me. Fuck it. It didn't hurt me. It didn't do anything for me. It didn't surprise me. And I know we're trailing back into politics a little bit here. But did you hear what happened with Joe Biden? Everyone heard what happened to Joe Biden, but did you hear what happened with Joe Biden on Friday?
No.
You didn't hear about this? All right, so Joe Biden on Friday, I've said that a million times, has appeared on Charlemagne the God's radio show. I don't know if it's the Breakfast Club.
This is completely news to me.
Oh my God, dude, you're gonna fucking so I don't know if it's the Breakfast Club or if he has his own radio show now. I have no idea.
I think it's a Breakfast Club. I think I said previously on an episode that he wasn't on the Breakfast Club anymore.
That's why I thought.
I think he is on the Breakfast Club, but I think I'm confusing it with Joe Biden leaving like DJ Academics and everything.
Joe Biden? You mean Charlemagne the God?
Joe Budden.
Oh, Joe Budden. I think you said Joe Biden. So he made an
I could have said Joe Biden, dude.
He made an appearance on, I'm just gonna say the Breakfast Club, fuck it. And he made a remark that stated, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Donald Trump, then you ain't black.
I saw the memes to this, dude.
Yes, dude. And the meme culture is so funny, but I'm just gonna like kind of blurt out and then we'll talk about it after. So
was he like humorous about it?
No, it was more like abundant racism, I want to say.
Well, because like I'm sorry, but it's partially true.
Yeah.
Like he was VP to our first black president.
I guess so, but dude, just like stating that.
Joe Biden's probably one of the closest people to get like a N-word pass.
So Charlemagne the God said it doesn't have to do anything with Trump. It has to do with the fact that I want something done for my community, which is like the first thing that Charlemagne the God said that I actually appreciated because I fucking hate that dude. And then Biden stated after, he said they were being rude to him and like kind of instigating him and they were like irritating. But
what did he think?
What?
What did he think?
What do you mean?
If you go on the Breakfast Club, of course they're going there to get instigated.
Yeah, I guess so.
If they're going to Sway in the morning and then being pissed that you have to freestyle before.
Yeah, but you gotta think, if you're going for an African-American community, especially someone that's been so close, like you said, work side by side with our first black president, where are you gonna go to? You're gonna go to those medias that attract an African-American demographic.
Yeah, that's very interesting because that makes total sense because you know what your demographic is, especially if you have that strong of a belief to say if you're voting for Donald Trump, you're not black.
Yeah.
So like it's like it makes sense, but I feel there are different outlets to promote yourself because what happens is if you didn't know that Charlemagne the God or the Breakfast Club brings people on to instigate them, especially after, let alone if you're a presidential candidate.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are someone that is like, like you're in cancel culture right now.
Yeah.
The first thing he's going to do is do his research and then instigate you on it and see if you can actually defend yourself and see if you're not like,
yeah, because it's like
call you out on it.
It's bringing the debate into a modern society because like usually the presidential debate has to deal with things that we've never even heard of. You know what I mean? Like, or things that we're not well versed in, but presidential candidates are. So we're used
not like
to
a common man type of thing.
Exactly. It's not like colloquial language that they're using when you transfer it to.
That's why I love like the new generation of podcasts and this podcast and interview form because it gives them a chance to speak to the common man. And it gives them the ability to speak without being like, "Hey, we're gonna give you 20 seconds to solve the economy."
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, so it's. But you got to know where your battles are. If you're gonna go into the black community and go into these like the Breakfast Club, for the Breakfast Club to do what the Breakfast Club does. And if you're ill prepared, I mean, I don't want to defend Charlemagne the God. This is the least my this is the last thing on my list. But it's like, hey, like if you jump in a swimming pool, don't get pissed because you have to swim. You know.
I guess so, but it's also the fact that like he probably doesn't know what the Breakfast Club is. It's like his people telling him, "Hey, you're gonna go in the Breakfast Club." They have a African American like demographic.
If your PR guy is telling you to go on the Breakfast Club, at least give him a heads up. They're probably like, "Hey, by the way, they're probably gonna instigate you," and then he realized how bad it is, and then he's like, "Oh."
Yeah, so he kind of took shots at Charlamagne the God on the Breakfast Club and saying they were rude to him, instigating him. But he said I shouldn't have been so cavalier, I believe was the language. But one of the things cavalier, like he shouldn't have been so like defensive and like aggravated and like kind of saying like, oh well, if you don't vote for me, you're not black.
Well, that's what I mean. Is like they have this aura to them, and you can feel it when you watch the Breakfast Club, especially when they're talking to people like 6ix9ine right before right when his album was dropping, and other people is they jump to, I mean, they're saying what everyone's thinking, first off. But secondly, it's like they're there to push your button. Oh, yeah. They're there to pin you against the wall and see if you're going to spike up like a porcupine or you're going to take it.
It's like, what did I say Eminem's, like, albums were? It's like culture shock, you know? Yeah. They're there to fucking bring that side of you.
Absolutely intentional. They're going to go there and bring a little dickie on and say, hey, like, you know, it's kind of stupid that your name is a dick joke.
Yeah.
You know, can't you be a little bit more mature than that? And then you got to either stand your ground, or if you're half like confident about it, they're gonna tear you apart. It's part of the whole hyena mentality of these like African American culture, hip hop interview shows. I mean, that's what you're asking for.
Yeah. And I was curious to see what the statistics were for blacks and how they vote. So I tried to find one on like a percentage that had was behind Joe Biden, whether independent, Democrat, or Republican, whatever it was, because I know that the numbers are pretty skewed in terms of an African American community, and that's the reason he's the presidential frontrunner for the Democrats is because of that community. And I wasn't able to find it, but I was able to find Democratic black community for 2016 for the Hillary Clinton campaign, and it was 89% of African American voters voted for Hillary Clinton, and I think 85% of those Trump. Yes, against Trump, and
not like in the Democratic race.
Yes, correct, exactly. So in the presidential race, you know, Republican, Democrat, so 89% were for Hillary Clinton. I think 85% of those people were Democrats. But like, I don't know, it's kind of like shooting yourself in the foot, because like the black vote is essential for your campaign, especially when that's what put you on the map. Because if the black voters were behind Bernie Sanders, he would have been the front runner 100%. But because I think so.
I wouldn't say that, because he has a lot of support from that community.
No, but I'm saying if the black community were behind Sanders, he would have had the front runner for the campaign, I believe.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I think there's a lot more thing. I would blame more the fact that he trends more socialist being his flaw, rather than having the support from that community, because he has all these big front runners in the hip hop community and in the black community in general. I mean, you had what the fuck is his name? Killer Mike, who was campaigning for him all throughout for Joe 2016 election. No, for Sanders.
Oh, for Sanders. Okay. Yeah.
So he went everywhere and spoke for him, and he was and Killer Mike, as much as people know him as the rapper from Run the Jewels, he's very political, and he likes to speak his mind, and that's where he likes to be most vocal. Is he wants to create a better world for everyone, and he's very big into politics. And I feel that people like that are looking for someone who's going to bring a change as dramatic as a socialistic democratic view is. But I feel it's more the fact that it sways that way that pushed voters away, that the fact that he's more socialist is what's deterring voters. But I feel like Trump being Trump is what's deterring the black community to the Democratic side.
Well, you got to think, if there's only, say, if the statistic runs through for 2020, there's only 11% of African Americans that are Republican or independent, or 15%, which is like those numbers are so fucking, you know. crazy.
But I don't want to stereotype, because obviously, like, with us being, not African American, it's very hard to like make a statement without like it being very
controversial on our end.
Not controversial, but like it's gonna be picked apart, because it's like, all right, thank you, white privilege. But I think what happens is socialistic views help, and democratic views in general help the impoverished, a lot more than Republican views.
Yeah.
So I think that's where that's why they trend that way, because it helps out their communities more so than the rich getting richer.
Yeah.
Which is typically kind of tied to the Republican mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's kind of the way they sway, is just because in the on the Democratic side, it's so funny. It's so stupid. I'm talking right now, and the first thing I think about is like the first couple of episodes were like, hey, let's not talk about politics and religion. And now like every episode we're talking politics and religion.
That's fine.
We're getting into a race war now.
Yeah.
But like I think that's why it is because of those, spread the wealth and help out everyone that's kind of poor, and that's and I'm not saying because when you're black you're poor. It's just like statistically that's where they kind of show the numbers.
Yeah. And so
typically statistically, because I haven't looked at the numbers
personally. I have no idea. Those are the only numbers that I pulled. So funny enough, I was on Snapchat today, and I've talked about it before, but I typically like in the mornings just to go and like relax and go on Snapchats, like the stories. And I saw one that I was like, oh, this fucking guy. And it was Ben Shapiro. If you don't know who he is, he's like a super alt-right, far Republican, and he's known almost like Gary Vee for being outspoken and just telling you you're wrong and backing it up with facts. But it's more along the way that he interrupts people until you shut down, because if you're that confident, most of those people are going to shut down. So I was like, oh, this fucking guy. So I was looking at the last episode, and
that's the thing that bothers me about those bang your chest, I'm a bigger man than you type of like alt-rightists that or people that are pinned as alt-right.
Yeah.
Is even if someone's confident in their thought process, either they come off as a dick because you're coming off as a dick. That's one. Two, you're gonna back down because you're not that confident, regardless of how confident you are in your views. It's just you as a person are not confident. Or three, your shit so much, or you know your views so well, but you're not gonna convince this person who's so swayed the other way. And, like if you're trying to convince them that abortion is wrong, and they're completely telling you the opposite, like it's like, is it worth my energy to spend an hour talking to someone who's not really going to think differently than what they feel, whether it's because of religion or because of personal views or personal experience? And I've always been bothered by those type of shows. I get it. I get the clickbait culture and the
it goes back to the Tommy Lorenz, the Ben Shapiro's of the world.
I think what drives people is, first, it makes one side look stupid, but you can also see the passion in the ones that kind of through with their confidence.
So I went back and I listened to the first episode and I listened to the last episode just to see like our podcast, how much it's changed and what he's doing. Even though there was only 7 episodes, obviously there's not that much room for change. But he said something that, and I 90% of the time don't agree with Ben Shapiro, but he said something that made me think oddly enough about the election coming up. And he said, Donald Trump is a mud man. Insane. So you can throw more mud at him, but he's still a mud man. He still has so much shit that is just around him. Throwing more shit at him isn't going to do it. While Joe Biden, on the other hand, we've seen at the beginning was this, white fluorescent blanket, or not fluorescent, white, white blanket. So when you throw fucking mud at it, it's going to be the only thing you see. Yeah. And that's what you're seeing with sexual harassment allegations. That's so
funny to
him being
think
creepy, him saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. And that's why it like triggers the when he breaks the news, he's breaking the news. Rather than Donald Trump, if you see like Donald Trump's sexual harassment allegation, you're sense. Like, sure, he's the mud man, so to speak. Yeah. But when you get towards Joe Biden, who almost is like, the angel of the Democrats, I guess you can say, because, and then you dig some dirt up, then you really start seeing, and it's more prominent in the media. So I thought about it and I was like, I agree with Ben Shapiro for once in my entire life.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of blemishes and tossing dirt on a nice field, Miami Dolphins are currently in the news, not because the Patriots lost to them again, but they are converting their Hard Rock Stadium into a drive-in movie theater.
Temporarily?
Yeah, no, forever. Yeah, temporarily while there's no football going on.
Hopefully.
So I personally feel it's a better use of their stadium because they're that good. It's a show. It's so funny the way you I look at it. So it can fit up to 230 cars. So everyone can just park and sit there and watch whatever.
Yeah.
But the way they described it, they're gonna showcase classic Dolphins content. It's all right, why am I gonna go to the drive-in I don't even know if okay, the Patriots actually get championships, and I don't think I would go to a drive-in go to Gillette Stadium and go to drive-in to watch Gillette classic content.
Yeah.
It was just funny the way they worded it, and they're you can watch classic films, and they're gonna host commencement ceremonies and everything. So it was just funny to see. I know we talked about ESPN trying to evolve with the times, but it's funny to see not only are things evolving, but things are almost digressing because
well, they have to. They have to be able to incorporate these socially distant functions to increase revenue, because you got to think, like we talked about, it's money over everything, and that's what people are looking for. So if they can increase their revenue and throw a fucking Miami Dolphins symbol for whoever gives a fuck to go in, and they can get a little bit of extra money, and people feel as if the stadium's being put to good use since they're not practicing there or playing games there, then
they're saying football is still gonna happen.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure, because
come on, that's what we need, dude. I think we need an American pastime, and I know sports is the American pastime, but I don't.
Yeah.
Sorry, baseball is the American pastime, and I don't want to watch baseball, but they need something to kind of revamp the American, come back together as a collective.
Yeah.
And I think one thing that would include that is the NHL just made their announcement that they will be coming back, boys. So they're going to have a 2014 playoff in 2 hub cities.
Yeah.
So I believe that just means that their playoff games are only going to be hosted in 2 cities. They had to go through and kind of, I don't know, cross off cities, which ones are getting infected more or has a more percentage. So that way it's they want to pick the least likely cities for their teams to get infected.
Sure.
So the thing is they're trying to bring back the season so that way there can be a Stanley Cup winner that isn't the just give it to the Bruins because they're in the lead.
Yeah.
So they say that training camps, just to put in perspective of when they would start back up, and just from listening to this, it almost seems like it would start up when football would start up, I guess.
Okay.
But they say the training camps are only opening July 1st. The training.
Yeah.
So, just to put in perspective now, so we're May 27th today, and March 12th was when the NHL got put on pause.
Okay.
So it's been 2 months, 2 weeks.
Okay.
So right now they've narrowed it down to 10 cities. So it's Chicago, Dallas, LA, Las Vegas, Minneapolis, Pittsburgh, which is 7 in the US. And then they also have 3 selections in Canada, which is Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton. And I think they're kind of playing around with having 1 in America and 1 in Canada.
Yeah, just for travel purposes, conveniences.
Correct.
Yeah.
And they feel that the one of the biggest issues is that the Canadian border has a 14-day quarantine rules. So it's almost like if they are able to bend the rules, they will host it there or think about it more, discuss it more to host one of the cities in Canada.
Yeah.
So, but they're trying to avoid all these quarantine rules, which I don't know if that's going to cause an outrage. That's we're going to make an exception for only NHL players.
Yeah.
And then they were saying that right now, the decision isn't really going to hinder the NHL league, but they need to make a decision in the next 3 to 4 weeks. So we'll be seeing when all these games are going to happen and what city it's going to be. But it's interesting that I don't know. It's so funny when life is stripped away from you. It's almost exciting to see things being pieced together, but it's almost like things aren't like just like, here's the NHL. It's almost like, let me give you little bits and pieces of the NHL. It's like you're almost building it from a foundation from like, you know, even if you were to look at the NHL, like from like the foundation and from the like origin. Yeah. It's like, that's kind of like how things are being pieced together, you know, week by week. Like we're slowly starting to get back our beaches and we're starting to get back our, you know,
well, that's what you have to do. You have to start from the building blocks and work your way up. Otherwise, because if you just go back to the way life was, like, we're gonna get up to fucking 200,000 COVID deaths in America.
It's I don't know. I don't know. It's not like I'm going out anyways. Yeah. You know, like it's not like I'm like, you know, spitting on people like, you know, when I'm going out and stuff. Like I'm just sick of it. I'm just sick of, you know, doing. Again, it goes back to the fact that I have things to do, but now that I finished everything I wanted to do while I, you know, had the stuff that were the biggest priority to me. Yeah. That I finished. So it's like now it's like, am I just doing things just to do things? Like I'm kind of like, it's almost like I understand why people feel defeated, because it's almost like you've taken away everything. Yeah.
No, I get it to a certain point, but I don't. And one of the biggest things that I've been seeing as in issues, and I posted a fucking meme on this because I'm just getting sick of like the back and forth, is like the fight against wearing a mask. And people are literally fighting, dude. And I forget what the meme was. It was Kylo Ren from Star Wars and Yoda, and it said, it was like slowly opening, you know, beaches or whatever. I forget what the fucking meme was, but like
then at the end it's like everything.
Yeah, it was like, oh, reopen America or reopen society, and it's like, dude, people aren't fucking understanding, and that's one of the biggest things that just gets me is that like, I don't know, dude. Like,
do you want to bash? Can I bash a location right now?
Bash a location? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard this at all, like when you were visiting our parents this past weekend, but when we were there, Wally's over at Hampton Beach was bumping. Mm-hmm. And the way they kind of did everything is they created an outdoor environment, but they fenced it all in with like a fishnet or whatever. Like they just like, it's almost like they created.
Can't get past the fishnet COVID.
Well, it's like literally like, it's like, all right, we're gonna like bring everyone cramped into this little space. Yeah. Make it a little bit more congested by putting like netting around it, and then. No, you're just defeating the purpose. And I was watching people on my Snapchat story and Instagram stories partying at Bernie's. No 6 rule exception. No one cares. Like, it's like, all right. And you know, the thing is even if you put 6 foot, like
lines or whatever, tape
for tables and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, what prevents me from like hitting up like a group of friends and saying, "Hey, let's all go here," and then you're not creating social distance. You're just social distancing from other people, so it doesn't really restrict anything.
Well, that. I'm curious because this like closely relates to the restaurant business in general. Because for me, we're gonna be opening back up, and we got the new guidelines and stuff, and it was like we have to have every other table and stuff. But what's stopping people from saying, hey, we're all going to Applebee's, all 6 of us, where we're crammed up in a booth together, you know? Because I think there's like a guest limit, you know, so like you can only have 8 people, or you can have a party of 12, but you're going to be in 3 different tables. And it's like, what the fuck is the point of, I don't know. I don't get it. Yeah. I guess I understand the fact that we can't close the country.
Why are people having barbecues and like?
Yeah, exactly.
Why do people need to go out? Like, unless what happens, okay? Because I think we kind of take it kind of seriously, like at least like between all of us. Yeah. Like we're having fires at a house and sitting 6 feet apart from each other, and it's like, I'm sure some people are already like hanging out. So like. If you've already been hanging out week to week, because what happens is things get redundant. Yeah. So you might be like week to week hanging out with a dozen people. So the next thing you want to do is go out to a restaurant, a dozen people or 4, 8 people, because you've already done the close proximity thing. Because a lot of people that are going to the restaurants aren't necessarily like they've already, overstepped their boundaries.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I don't know. I don't get it. I feel like there's a lot of people trying their best to do whatever they can do for the public interest, and I get it. I get it that you don't, you're fucking crammed in your apartment and stuff like that, but like at least try to take precautions when you're going out with friends or whatever. Like if you guys want to throw on some masks, unless it's people you see on a day-to-day basis, and they're taking their precautions when they go out and stuff. But
I'm seeing parties happening already.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I don't get it.
When I was driving by Wally's when we were at the beach, it was Wally's and what's the place that has the poutine? The goat.
The goat, yeah.
And all the tables were filled, but only 2 people at one table were masked up. And I get it, you're trying to eat, but most of those people aren't going out to eat. They're going out to socialize and drink. So they're not going to keep a mask on, and even if they do, to take it off,
out of all times when you're going to social distance, you're not going to social distance when you're social drinking. You know what I mean? Like, if I'm drunk, I'm like, people are more friendly, like, oh, hey, what's up?
Touching each other. Yeah.
You're not going to be like, whoa. But I'm surprised there's not more fights breaking out. I'm surprised there's not news headlines going, like, fight breaks out because of social distancing, because it's happening inside of market baskets.
Yeah.
People are fighting. I just heard recently that some guy, like, starting a fight with, like, one of the cashiers because they said step behind the black line because they had stepped over it, and it's like,
yeah, I had seen something online, and like I said, it's the fucking news influx is hard to like keep straight. But it was a video, so it was pretty self-evident. And they said that one guy came up and punched an Asian dude in the face and said, "Fuck you for coronavirus," or whatever. He wasn't wearing a mask, but the Asian couple was wearing a mask. But he just got like knocked the dude out, and he was like, "What the fuck?" What? Oh, dude, I don't know, man.
I think I don't know if I've said it before on the podcast, but I say it probably a couple times a day just talking to people.
Yeah.
It's like this virus has really brought people's true colors out.
Absolutely.
I think what happens is people, if they were impatient before, you're seeing their patience being tested now, and very quickly you see, you see people's true colors. You see how people are reacting. You're seeing how people, and it goes back to the stupid meme where it's like, I don't want to see you guys sharing those fucking memes anymore where if you were given $5 million you would stay in a cabin for a year when you can't even stay a month at home to protect your grandmother from us.
Right?
So,
dude, seriously, I didn't even think about that. Like all those people that are like, oh man, I could take a year off, or all these toxic people around me, like I just want to get out and away from them. Like I would so have no technology and live in a cabin for a year rather than fucking a mansion at a party mansion or whatever. And it's like, fuck you, dude. You can't even respect the guidelines of fucking COVID-19 and going out and doing things.
It's so true, and it's such a slap in the face, and that's I constantly think about that, where it's like I see so many people, and I have one person right in mind that definitely shared that meme, and I don't know if I'm converting it to you.
Yeah.
Like picture one person that is, and we're not.
I already have like 3 people in my head, so it might be one of them.
It's someone's girlfriend. So
I don't know, man.
I'll tell you later.
All right, we'll talk about it after the podcast.
It's literally like the epiphany of someone who's like, I would escape to a cabin. I could do it for no money.
Yeah, I don't need money to live here. It's such a beautiful place, and I don't need technology. Fucking bullshit. You can't even go out fucking without a mask on. Like I don't want to hear it.
But I guess it's us too. Like I'm starting to go stir crazy, but it's like fuck, man. Like it sucks. It's
I've always
months, dude.
I guess in terms of my position, I know we've been going on this for a while, but like in my position, like I'm going to be a teacher. You know what I mean? Like I am for giving back to society as a whole, and that's like kind of where I want to say like my democratic side comes from. That's the little left I lean comes from that, because I want just like everyone to be okay and happy. As much as I fucking hate people, and I'm one of those people that like can't stand like toxic friends and whatever. But like I don't know, I'm just like for the greater good of everyone. If I have to fucking wear a mask and smell my own cigarette breath in that mask, I guess I'll do it.
I
guess I'll do it. Yeah. It's fucking awful. I'll like smoke a butt because I go out. You know me. I
wonder if cigarettes have gone up, like smoking has gone up, like as a whole.
I don't know. I mean, I'm smoking less, mostly because I don't go outside during the day because of the bees, and then at night I'm only up for say I'm up till 2-3 o'clock at night, and I smoke like 1 cigarette an hour for X amount of hours.
Smoking. I can
Probably.
just picture the couple that's like
if I smoked
unbearable at home together, and they're like, I gotta fucking go out and smoke.
if I smoked inside, I would probably smoke more. I'll tell you that. Like, I'd be buying cartons and shit. But my house is nice, and I fucking washed all the walls from a previous smoker, so I'm not trying to do that.
Well, I think you appreciate like the non-smoke walls. Like once you, if people that smoked inside had to wash their walls every year, you would probably not smoke inside anymore.
Oh, no, absolutely not. It's the same reason I don't smoke in my car. You know, I don't want my car reeking of smoke. I don't want fucking burn stains like my Jeep Wrangler had. So it's like, I don't know. I'm just going to do it outside. And then when I quit, it's going to be easier for me because I don't have X, Y, and Z. Oh, man, it sucks. Like, I always used to smoke when I drive. Now I don't know how to pass the time. Like, I'm already eliminating a couple things. So when it gets to that point where I quit, it'll be easier. But yeah, dude, cigarette breath in a mask. I want to talk about something really quick just because I thought it was fucking funny, and it was just like, dude, you'll feel the same way I do about this. It's not torn between two brothers, it's agreed between two brothers, because I know you're going to feel the same way. Quibi, which is a new upcoming platform, kind of like Netflix and Hulu.
Why?
I don't know.
Why does this exist, dude?
It's just a new platform, dude. It's the same with HBO
so corny,
and
it seems corny.
Mm-hmm.
If Chrissy Teigen is your spokeswoman wearing a Judge Judy outfit, I don't want to watch it. I'm not downloading your app.
But you might watch this one. No, you won't. You won't watch this one. But it's wicked funny, dude. Do
you know what Quibi stands for?
No.
I believe it stands for Quick Bits.
Oh, fuck it. So stupid. But then again, like Netflix, Hulu, like really, what are those things? You know. But in 2015,
isn't Netflix just Internet Flicks or Internet Movie Flicks?
I understand. I'm just saying they're stupid names, Justin. In 2015,
that's a good name. That's
literally
a good name. I don't know what hula hoop is.
Yeah, Hulu. I'm just saying, like, all these names are shitty. You can't ditch Quibi
Netflix
when there's fucking
is a
Hulu.
Good one.
All right, Netflix, I'll give it to. But HBO, dude, HBO Max, you're just naming it after your fucking platform on TV. Think of something more creative. I'm just saying. Fuck, man. In 2015, Kirby Jenner started adding himself to photos with the Jenner family.
Kirby Jenner, dude.
You know Kirby Jenner?
My jam. Yeah.
Dude, I didn't find out about this till today. This is why I'm fucking excited.
So funny, dude.
So basically,
he's the guy that photoshops him everywhere, right?
Yes. So he is a part of the Jenner family, quote unquote. He's Kendall Jenner's fraternal sister. Too. Yes.
I think they've all acknowledged him too, which is great.
Well, Quibi picked up a show that's starring Kirby Jenner this year.
No way.
And I believe the Jenners and Kardashians are going to make appearances on there, which is just fucking hilarious.
It's got to be called like Kirby with the Kardashians or something.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You know it's going to be. And so it's so funny because CNN had an interview with him, and he doesn't break character. And he literally, like, some of the shit that I wrote down, dude, I was cracking up while I was writing it. So he's like, oh, yeah, you know, my mom, Kris Jenner, told me to pick up, you know, this Quibi.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Quibi show. Oh, yeah, he's not breaking character at all.
Is it the same as the dude that just photoshops him in every single picture? Like,
yeah, so he's been photoshopping himself saying that he's Kendall Jenner's fraternal twin sister.
Like me, right?
Yeah, just, well, he's got, like, short hair and a thick mustache. No beard. Yeah. No beard. Just a thick mustache.
I didn't know he has a whole persona. I thought he just calls himself Kirby Kardashian because it's KK or whatever it is.
Kirby Jenner, yeah.
And I didn't know he has a whole persona going alongside like his photoshopping.
No, he doesn't break character. It's probably since he's gotten this deal with Quibi. But he said that he doesn't live in the house per se. They kicked him out of his room because Kris Jenner wanted an extra closet in the house, so he lives in the attic, but it's better for him because he gets more privacy. So he has this whole persona, but he said his show is going to feature fashion, modeling, this is the one that got me, pyrotechnics, and celebrities. And I think the idea here is just fake it till you make it, because this dude has no affiliation with the Kardashians or the Jenners, but literally has photoshopped himself for the past 5 years in all of their pictures, and now he's getting a show from Quibi.
Dude, I always think about things that I like check, and like, or like you can even check it out with TikTok trends.
Yeah.
It's like literally just like people reinventing the wheel. And it's just like, or combining like old aesthetics with new aesthetics. And it's just so funny. Like I'm seeing people like do like new dances to old TikTok songs, and they're getting viral because they're
repurposing their spin,
repurposing, and it's there's so many smart things like that where it's like you can literally like just do the same thing every day for 5 years, and then all of a sudden
if you're new and intuitive, if you're new and intuitive, like it reminds me of like people. Who's that dude that they made a movie over, Spring Breakers? He was with
James Franco plays him. It's Riff Raff.
Riff Raff. Like you do something different but along the same lines, like just something weird, and you get that cult following. You know what I mean? Like there's so many fucking movies, TikToks, whatever it may be, on all sorts of media, on all ends of the spectrum.
I mean, think about tattooing 6ix9ine on your face and 6ix9ine 100 times on your body.
You're gonna get fucking famous, dude. You're gonna get famous.
Marketing move.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You're literally investing your time within yourself, knowing that you're gonna get somewhere because you're the only one doing it. No one else is gonna tattoo their rap name or a number onto their face and go out there. Why don't you do it? You know? And it's like almost things that you think on a day-to-day basis are stupid. Like personally for TikTok, one of the reasons I haven't been super into TikTok lately is because I keep getting ideas and I say, no, that's stupid, it's not going to go viral, and then I don't make the TikTok because I think it's that stupid. But it might be that it's that stupid that it will go viral on TikTok.
No doubt.
You know, like I see people on TikTok and it's like, I don't mean to be rude, but it's like people with special needs, and it's pretty evident, you know, they don't have hashtags, it's whatever, and it's them like staring into a camera. It's just like, and they're just like turning around and they're showing like, my mom's making dinner, and it's like that shit's kind of funny, you know what I mean? Like they're inventing their own brand within their spectrum. Like if that can make it, you know. So there's so many.
Well, I like to relate it back to Logan with an afro or whatever. All he does is post fucking Reddit posts.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, it's so easy to fucking blend the two together. Video. That's why video editing and like transitions are becoming so popular, because people are fascinated with video editing and movie magic without even really realizing it, because it's something out of the norm. So it's like, all right, let's combine movie magic. That's why what's his face? The guy who like he'll do all these like shorts on YouTube where it's like a magic trick, but it's all edited. You know what I mean? Like what he'll do is like he'll like pass through a mirror and then come back. And
you're talking about the Vine star, right?
Yeah,
that kind of died off. He went into TikTok, but I haven't heard anything from him. I don't remember his name.
He's one of the most popular on TikTok.
Yeah. Oh,
like
really
top
now?
10 status.
No way, huh?
Huge. So like what happens is like but that's just reinvent. Like I said, it's just going, all right, well, I'm really good with editing, and people love these 15-minute shorts. And if anything, this is much easier for me to edit like a 60-second video than to make a full-fledged 10-minute video on YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, no doubt. Fucking if you.
But then there's people that's why I love like Quarter Digital, because they've been doing all these viral videos, and they're almost even getting more views and more popular dissecting something.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that people on TikTok aren't taking these transition videos or these movie magic videos and dissecting it and saying, this is how it was done. And people are starting to do it for their own videos.
There's trends in TikTok that people have just started. So I know, all right, so here's when you know.
They do the whole behind the scenes thing.
Yeah, when something dies, like a TikTok trend, for example, when something dies like that, you can see, because it's like you've exhausted every single possibility to the point where it's like the dumbest thing, like even like breaking something down, which like theoretically is cool, but like there's been trends where people, I know there's a certain trend that people run up to the camera and they're like, oh, here's this philosophical big thing that you don't think of, you know, like you don't suck the straw sucks you, and then it'll go to like a different part, and then there's like this one dude that literally just answers the questions. So he's like, oh, why do we never think of this? And then he goes, because it's not, you know, it's something that is automated in our body, like we don't know. I know that's not a good example, but he breaks things down, and when he first started doing those videos, now I'm seeing behind the scenes videos. Now I'm seeing breaking TikToks down. How did I do this? I'm seeing more tutorials from like Mecha Cow and stuff like that.
Interesting.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's fascinating to see the trend in things, because it's almost like things are getting more and more meta because everyone's done everything.
Yeah.
So it's like, all right, like Like you could see, if you were to look at YouTube and see the growth and where things have changed over the last 10 years, you could potentially forecast and and predict where TikTok is going to go in
absolutely.
Next few months. But I mean, granted, TikTok is expedited. Like it's literally like, such a much faster paced platform, and like things are being exhausted.
And it's only growing because generationally speaking, I'm seeing more, at least on Joanna's TikTok, because she has like a certain For You page. Everyone I know has that algorithm that's designed for them. But people are like, and I see people on Facebook like, oh my God, this TikTok stuff is crazy. And they spelled TikTok wrong, but they still have the app. They're still looking at it. Yeah. So it's like rising in evolution because the curiosity is being built. And like, dude, there's probably fucking, I know there's 70, 80-year-olds with TikTok.
Dies.
Yes. When those people start taking over, there's going to be like a cult following for TikTok, but it's going to die because you've already reached the cap.
Who was it, dude? I wish I had more of a brain like a sponge, because there was one. It was when
you're literally.
What was who was president during the Great Depression? Okay, good. So that president.
Yeah. That president.
So when he said, when the janitor Percy came up to talk to him about stocks, he knew to completely, like, he knew something was fucked with the entire stock market and something was going wrong when the janitor was giving him advice about the stock market.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Like, it's because it's already exhausted through everyone. So it's almost like all the cool kids have already done it, and now it's getting to, then it's gone to the parents, and it's gone to the, not
the people that unironically download it.
Very, very outside, and like the people that are still using freaking like rotary phones are starting to learn about it. Yeah. And I think that's what happens is once you see it get to that point, that's the time to pull out and go to the next one. That's why Vine started dying, and then different platforms started dying. I mean, Snapchat is kind of a dying breed.
I think Instagram is the only one that's standing more the test of time, and that's even owned by Facebook. I hear more people use Instagram than anything than Facebook. 100%. Facebook is a dying company, and there's going to be another one to take over. I'm sure they'll take over Facebook. Facebook won't be a thing, I guarantee, in like 10 years.
Well, I think what people are getting sick of on TikTok as a platform, and I know we're beating this topic with a dead horse, but it's because people viewed it as the everyday common man high schooler. Yeah. And now it's turned into, let's sponsor all the posts that all the celebrities have. Yeah. So let's put Jason Derulo on top. Let's put Howie Mandel on top. Let's put like all these celebrities that are only using it to build following that's very easy to capitalize on, because with the new platform, they want it to be more marketable. They want to say this and this face are on the platform, which
everyone's trying to do. Look at us.
Look at this person. Like, Jennifer Lopez is on this, channel, like, or this platform. Like, come to this channel. Trust me, everyone's coming here. Yeah, it's much easier. So it's like, all right, let's give them a blue check mark. Let's give them priority over everyone else. Let's make them the face of TikTok, or one of the many faces of TikTok. And then now all these everyday people that have built their platform, built their audience since day one, and have been growing and growing and growing. And whether they're the
don't get prioritized
followers or the 100,000 or the 10 million, they're like, all right, these guys just came through and stampeded. While I've been growing with the platform as a whole. Yeah, it kind of like kicks dust on everyone else, and it's like, all right, well, like this is not the platform for me, because clearly you're showing bias. But then it only makes sense on a marketing standpoint to be like, hey, we're gonna boost these big names because they're gonna be bringing the people out there. They're the ones that are gonna go to their other platforms and share their favorite TikToks to drive audiences of people that have never heard of it, or want to see the full video, or want to see more content similar to it.
Well, it's like every time, I know we do our research from different platforms and stuff, and one of the ones I always look at first, because I got the you remember the virtual mother meets the dead daughter or whatever? Yeah. That I got off of BuzzFeed trending. So I always try to look, but it's like 90% bullshit. But one of the things that's always on top is a celebrity on TikTok.
Yeah.
So for anyone that goes to BuzzFeed trending, they see, fucking Jason Derulo broke his teeth, as we talked about the other episode. Oh, now I'm gonna go
Bryce
from
Hall just went to jail.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go from BuzzFeed to TikTok to maybe get you to download it, and then now you're following those people. Now you're gonna start making content, and it snowballs into a marketing ploy that
I see it dying, or the platform having to figure out a way to change, because it's so funny when a platform evolves to allow you to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost similar to The Good Place, like where like the people have gone to heaven and then they're like, we could do anything.
Yeah.
Now I'm bored.
Yeah, exactly.
I've
literally done a fucking race on a hot dog. Like, like there's nothing more I could do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, right. I'm sure there'll be a new platform, but there's plenty of platforms that rise and then they fall because they don't. Well, that's the thing, is like all these platforms have such a dope foundation of the capabilities to do everything that they don't remember Facebook was no more than what Twitter is today.
Mm-hmm.
Let alone like you couldn't post videos, you couldn't post like you had photos, but like it wasn't the same thing.
No.
So it's like any platform that's going to come from the ground up is going to be very minimal.
Oh yeah.
And as much as like Vine was minimal, the only reason why TikTok had a lot more features in the beginning is just because it built off of Vine's foundation. It
built off of Vine and Musical.ly and mashed them together, and then they can hit the ground running. And I think that's why
it grew so well, is because it had these foundations to have the upper hand, while another, like, I don't even know what the fucking social media, like one that just came out recently that started with a V or whatever, like that one came and then it was like, all right, this is such bare boned, it's not even
it was Visco, VSCO. Visco. No, that's not what you're talking about. That was one that came out kind of like Instagram.
No, I know what you're talking about, but it's not Visco.
VSCO. Yeah,
that's Visco Girls.
Oh, is that what it is? Is that where that came from?
No, that's where you're thinking of, the girls with the scrunchies and everything.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it came from that platform. Like Visco Girls were made from Visco.
So we're thinking of a different platform.
Okay.
I'm talking about the one that was like a black logo with like a red V or whatever, and that's all it was. And it was like
I don't know that.
Facebook. It was known as the Facebook killer.
Oh, really?
People were like, everyone made like a new account and then realized, oh, this is a stupid platform that only a fraction of my friends are on. I'm not on this.
Exactly.
I don't know.
All right. Say our goodbyes, I guess.
I'm okay.
I'm gonna say goodbyes because I have to.
Doing an iris exit? Is that what it's called when you just like leave a party without saying anything?
Yeah. Well, I got it, dude. To be honest, what it is that I have to go kill this bee in my basement, which is priority number 1. Figure out if there's a beehive somewhere next to my basement. That's priority number 2. Priority number 3. I gotta put in air conditioning because I'm fucking hot, dude.
Oh yeah, must be smoking, dude.
Oh my god, dude, sweat like
I know
up and down, baby. But yes, thank you.
That's why you wear black, baby.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning into episode 24. We are hoping as soon as possible to get back to the face-to-face podcast. Most likely when Justin finishes his basement, we see each other enough where we will be able to be face-to-face. We're practically living in the same home. But thank you, everyone. We appreciate it. Hopefully things will get back to normal soon. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Future podcasts, previous podcasts. We're on audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, fucking podcast.com, which I didn't know was a thing until I fucking found it a couple days ago. So we're always growing on different platforms. So, yeah, Justin, any final words before we take off?
I don't know, dude. I'm fucking sick of everything. I always question my existence in these times of low life, and the one thing I gotta say is the one thing that brings me back to life is when you shoot a subscription or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. So without further ado, I'd like to say, if you don't want me to hate my entire existence, please bring me life. And, do that for no. I don't know. Like I keep going back, and I'm like, it's disheartening. I want to just talk about the mentality of a podcaster, and it's funny listening to other podcasts because they go through the same things. Because obviously with the quarantine and just in general, like people, like the whole podcast bandwagon had kind of jumped and everyone tried to be like, oh, I can be a radio talk host. It's funny to hear all these people that talked about it and then get discouraged and then quit or just, you know, the more they go into it, they're like, oh, is it worth it and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's funny to just see that mind state being universal across all social medias, because you can make a post and you're like, oh, how come this didn't get more views, or if me and you don't get a certain guest, and it's like, all right, we're only talking to half the people now.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I it's just interesting. You know, without being too heartbreaking, just, you know, if you do follow the podcast, the thing that means the most to us is definitely getting that word around. And I don't want to be like super depressing, but it's a funny fine line to be like, hey, like, you know, what's worth it, because we dealt with it with like streaming, like when we were playing video games, and it's like, all right, like, you know, I'm investing 4 hours a night to stream to 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, am I capitalizing on everything? Am I doing everything? And it's disheartening at times. So there are ups and downs, but one thing that doesn't change is me enjoying the podcast with you. I feel like I'm a guest, like saying my thanks for being on the episode.
Literally.
We will be making some special appearances. We've been requested to be on some podcasts to do some cross promotion, so we will be making those announcements shortly. And then if you follow the podcast, shoot us a subscribe. That helps.
Send it to a friend, as we always say. All right.
Singular friend.
Peace out.
Don't send it to multiple
babies.
people, because that's kind of like, you know what pissed me off? Do not send it to like 10 of your friends, because that means you haven't sent it to your friends before. You should only have the capabilities of sending it to one last additional friend, because you've already exhausted your resources. So please send it to a singular friend. That would help a lot with the podcast.
Absolutely. And we'll see you next week, Wednesday, 7:30 to, I guess, 9:30 now, usually till 9. All right. Peace out, homies.